I'm back for this last video of the first series of problems of retrograde analysis chess problem I wanted to share. Maybe there will be just a second series of 5 problems later. And this one is talking about the notion of illegal cluster. It's a notion I learned only a few weeks ago, to be honest. And I wanted to create one just for fun. So let's see what it is. So you have a position and you need to create an illegal cluster, adding one black rook, one black pawn, one white rook, and 4 white pawns. So what is an illegal cluster? I recall the definition. An illegal cluster is an illegal position that becomes legal as soon as one piece is removed, except the kings, of course. So for instance, we have an example here. You have 3 pieces, the 2 kings and 1 black knight, and actually checking the white king. And you need to create an illegal cluster, adding a black rook and a black bishop. So you need to build an illegal position, which will be legal when you removed the knight, the bishop, but also the rook. So the solution is here to add the bishop in h8 and the rook in g4. Let's see what is going on with this. Okay, so the white king is 3 times in check by the knight, by the rook in g4, but also by the bishop in h8. Okay, so it's an illegal position. But if you remove one of these 3 pieces, it will be a legal position. Let's say you remove the black knight. Then it just means that the last black move was rook g7 to g4 double check. If you remove the rook, it just means that the last black move is a knight g7 to e6 double check with the bishop in h8 and with the knight. And if you remove the bishop in h8, it just means that the last black move is knight f4 to e6 double check. Okay, and so it's an illegal cluster, an illegal position, but when you remove one of these 3 pieces, the position becomes legal. So let's pick my problem. So here you need to make an illegal cluster with a black rook, a white rook, but also a black pawn and 4 white pawns. Okay, the idea will be to, well, first, if you want, you can just pause the video now and try to solve it. Okay, let's now share the solution. The idea was to put the black king in check, so that it will be not possible for white to administrate this check, so the position is illegal. But if you remove one of the pieces, then it will be possible to make this check. So the idea was to put the white rook there, so actually black is in check. Okay, of course at the moment it's absolutely possible to make this check. For instance, you can play rook a6 to a5, you can play rook a3 to a5. So first we're gonna block this rook, so we're gonna add a white pawn there and a black rook there. Well, it's not possible to do something like this, for instance, because now it would be possible. The last white move could be pawn in b5, take something in a6, check. So let's do it like this. Okay, so now the way white can make this check is with this move, one of these 3 moves. Okay, like king b5 to c4 check. So actually it's not an illegal position. We're gonna add a black pawn there. The idea is now it's really hard for white to come from there, because if the last white move was king b5 to c4 check, what was the last black move? Because actually the white king is 2 times in check, and it's not possible. It's not possible to have this double check, so it wouldn't be possible for white to come from this. And same, it's not possible for white to come from d5, because actually the white king would be in check by the pawn c6, but also by the bishop g2. And it's not possible for black to make a move which administrate this double check. So only one possible move is remaining. King c5 to c4 check. Okay, but then the question is, what was the last move of black? It was maybe d7 d6 checks, it was maybe c7 take check, and it was maybe e7 take check. So to remove all these possibilities, you're gonna add 3 white points there. And this is the solution. Now you have an illegal position, and we're gonna show it's an illegal cluster. It's an illegal position because it's not possible for white to play a move which administrate this check. Actually, there is no possible move for white. It cannot be the rook, like rook a5, because the black king would have been in check before the white last move. It cannot be king b5 c4, it cannot be king c5 c4, and it cannot be king d5 c4 for the reason I gave. Here you have a double check which is not possible, here you have a double check which is not possible, and here you have a check which is actually not possible. Now we need to show that if we remove one of these pieces, it's possible. Well, we construct this to arrive to this, so it's pretty easy actually to see this, because if you remove, let's say, the rook, of course the last move can be if you remove the rook, the last move could be rook a6 a5 check. If you remove this pawn, well, the last move could be rook check. If you remove this knight, let's put it there, then the last move could be king b5 c4, and the previous move of black was b7 take something in c6 check, and then you move in c4 check. If you remove this pawn, well, it's the same, it's just mean that the last black move was something like this, check, and you go there, check. Well, if you remove this one, it could be also there, like, okay, like this was the move, check, and you go there, check. So if you remove this pawn, it's really easy. If you remove this pawn, well, same, it's really easy, because the last move of white could be just c5, c4, check. If you remove one of these 3 white pawns, it's the same. It will work, because then it just means that the last black move was, for instance, take something, check, and you go there, check. And if you remove the bishop, it will just mean that the last move of white was king d5 to c4, and the last black move was b7 takes in c6 check, and you go in c4. So, well, this is how you solve this problem. You have there an illegal cluster. Well, I hope you like this one. I think it's some pretty nice problems. I really like it. Maybe I will create more problems on illegal clusters in the future. We'll see. Well, that's all for today. Bye bye.